Alright, so we're back, finally covering some games again. Not the Vancouver Canucks main team, but today we're going to be talking about the prospects in this year's showcase. The Vancouver Canucks played against the Seattle Kraken in a 2-game series yesterday and today. And it was actually pretty entertaining, other than the fact that for the first game, a majority of the first period was spent looking at the center of the ice, and the camera just wouldn't really move, but they fixed it up. Not to mention there wasn't any audio, but if you watch my man Nothing Is Perfect on YouTube, he had a very good play-by-play going to make it a little bit more interesting. In the second game, at least you could hear the audio of the crowd, so I guess that's something. But anyways, we're going to be talking about the highlights from both games, starting off with the first one. And yeah, the first period was pretty uneventful. I'd say the highlight was Aleksei Medvedev, the goaltender from the Vancouver Canucks drafted in the second round of this year's NHL entry draft. He was looking really athletic, kind of like a young Sergei Bobrovsky, making some good saves. He kept the score 0-0, and then in the second period, it's the Vancouver Canucks that get off to a running start. It's Vilmer Alriksson who gets around the Seattle player, fends off the check, and goes in on a breakaway, scores the goal here. What a great gutsy play to make it 1-0 for Vancouver. This guy's looking like a beast. I say put him back in the OHL next year to dominate, but we'll see how he does in training camp. Canucks get another goal quickly here. It's Sherratt here with a nice shot. Makes it 2-0. And then the third goal is scored by one of my favorite Vancouver Canucks, Elias Pettersson, the defenseman. He gets a nice cross-feed pass and puts it by to make it 3-0. In my eyes, he was the Vancouver Canucks MVP in this prospect showcase, and I guess it is no surprise because I think that out of all the prospects, he definitely has the best shot of making the team full-time next year. But that's about all the good things I can say in this first prospect game for the Vancouver Canucks because, I don't know, they just kind of collapsed after that. Had 5 unanswered goals scored on them to lose the game 5-3 to Seattle. Fair play to them, I guess. But to be honest, I don't really know what happened. The Canucks just kind of stopped playing, and Seattle took full advantage of that. They get the win as we move into the second game, which just concluded a few hours ago. And in this one, the Canucks get the first goal once again. This time it's Jonathan Lekkerimäki. I was expecting him to get on the board, and he finally does in one of these games here. A nice goal here, just pops it by the glove hand of the Seattle netminder. Nice pass there as well from Riley Patterson. But yeah, anyways, it's the Canucks goaltender. This time it's Kevan Hudson who makes a couple of nice saves here on the Seattle Kraken. And then in the second period, it's Aaron Obo-Biafo who extends the lead for the Vancouver Canucks. Nice patience to go around the goalie and tuck it in far side. The Kraken get one back, but in the third period, it's the Vancouver Canucks who extend their lead once again and restore their 2-goal lead. It's Riley Patterson with his second point of the night. Nice goal there, puts it by and makes it 3-1. The Kraken put some pressure on late to make it 3-2, and they get a power play because D-Petey crunched someone and got put in for 2 minutes. The goaltender was pulled, but they were unable to solve Kevan Hudson, and the Canucks get their revenge in Game 2 to even out this little mini-series between them. Overall, I thought the Canucks prospects played pretty well. Other than that collapse in the third period of the first game, they were pretty solid for most of it, and against a prospect pool that's pretty deep with guys like Berkeley Catton, Jake O'Brien, Jagger Furcus, Coco, their goalie, who was also very good, Edward Chalet, Fiddler, the list goes on. They have a very deep prospect pool, so see the Vancouver Canucks come out on top in one of them, and realistically should have won the first game as well if they didn't just collapse in that third period at a 3-0 lead. They did pretty good. I'd say the 3 things I'm most excited about after watching that are 1, the D pairing between Elias Pettersson and Tom Willander looked really good. Willander's definitely a contender for a spot, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd say put him in the AHL, let him develop, because we do have a pretty stacked D-core, but if he does do well enough to make the team, I would not be surprised at all. Also, Vilmer Alriksson, the guy just looks scary to play against. You love to see it. On top of being a very big physical presence, he's also making plays happen, scoring goals. That's just fantastic stuff. And also, Aleksei Medvedev, he was honestly very good. The Canucks really let him out to dry at the end of that first game, but still, he was almost getting to some of the pucks there. You can definitely see the potential there in what looks to be a very athletic goaltender. I forgot to mention, Braden Coots did play in the first game, but he got hurt, and I guess for precautionary reasons they didn't play him in the second one, which I'm totally fine with. Would have been nice to see a little bit more of what he has to offer, but I'm sure there'll be other opportunities throughout this year for us to see him on full display. But yeah, that caps off the past 2 days for this team. Thank you all so much for watching. Give me your thoughts on who excites you the most out of this Vancouver Canucks prospect group. I'm not exactly sure if they have another one of these games coming up. If they do, I'll be covering it. But if not, then we do have preseason coming up, which I will be covering those games for sure. And yeah, be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new around here. Make sure you buy Midday Squares with the link in my description down below for 15% off your final order. With that, peace out and take care.